So now have left the wood area, and now we are going to we're going to get into some sanding with Mr. Tomas here, because you're the guy, I'm told.
Yes, I am one of the guys.
You're the guy.
The guy.
He's the guy.
I actually started in sanding when I first started working here.
Yeah.
So here we go. 25 years ago.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Much quieter.
This is much quieter than the.
It's a little more dustier.
Yeah.
So when the bodies, just a real quick thing, when the bodies come from the mill and the necks come from mill, this is the next stop. And this is where the final finishing of the sanding and the structure of the body, integrity of the hard lines, the lines of the body get sanded down to perfection.
Okay.
And this is where the magic happens as far as the shaping of the true body come in right here.
Okay. This is cool.
Yeah. You have to get it right the first time when you sand the body because you can never add wood back onto it. So there's a lot of details. Everything's done here by hand.
Okay.
No robots or hand sanders.
And what is the training like if someone was to come in here? How long does it take a typical? How long did it take you to really get up to speed and comfortable?
It's usually about a year to 6 months, depending on how fast of a learner they are.
Okay.
Necks are a little different from bodies. Necks, they have the radius they have to get right.
Sure.
The fingerboard has to be right. Same thing with the bodies. But I would say the necks take a little bit longer than the bodies as far as training.
Right.
And as you see, he's sanding right there, all by hand right now with the hand sander. But these guys, they have a muscle memory feel of how far to go, how much pressure to apply on the sander, and how much wood to take off.
Is there templates that they are checking contours to, or anything?
They do have some templates, but the templates is embedded in their muscle memory.
Repetition.
Yeah, repetition all day, and you can see he knows exactly where to go. He's doing most of the rough sanding. Because when they do come back from the mill, when they come from the mill, they do have a lot of hard lines and whatever the cutters can't do, they're cleaning up with the cutters, leaving all the hard lines. So that's exactly what he's doing right there. He's taking a bladder sander and sanding all the lines, and you can just see it's all feel, right?
Yeah.
He's not going too hard, not doing too soft, and he's definitely cutting into the wood really good.
Wow. That's amazing.
And then to blast it off. And we have all these really bright lights so you can actually see the lines where you need to be, and that's what he's doing. He's checking the lines, making sure there's no deep sand scratches and tidbits that they didn't get up in the mill.
All right.
Yeah. And the same thing with the necks right over here. We have him on these jigs right here, and this is all done by hand. They do use the bladder sander to start to get the hard lines off, to get the radius lines off on the cutter. And then what he's doing is he knows on that particular neck that he's doing, he knows what the radius is supposed to feel like. So he runs his hand up and down and he gets the perfect backside of the radius on it.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's all muscle memory right there.
And how long is he going to be doing that for that one neck?
I think it takes about 30 minutes. It all depends on the neck,
Of
Some
course.
necks, the longer the necks, it take a little bit longer. And if they have binding on them, they take more time.
Sure.
It all depends on the neck, but usually it's about 30 to 45 minutes per neck.
Okay.
And you can see right there, he's doing. You can just see it's just.
Yeah.
He's light to the touch.
That's amazing.
Because if you dig too deep, you can't add the wood back in. So, and you're kind of letting the weight of the sander do the work, rather than applying pressure. He's just like the weight of the 2-pound sander. It's just enough applied pressure where he just rolls over, and as the sander cuts through the wood, he can actually see the results going where he needs to be. So sticking back with the necks. Mm-hmm. They're doing the rough sanding, and these guys are doing the fine-tuned sanding. So they're getting into the more finer sandpapers. They're starting off with maybe 220, and they're working their way up to like 400 grit. Okay. And what they're doing is they're looking for hard lines that you see on the wood, and then deep sand scratches, and making sure that all the sanding is done correctly. And right there, he's using like a sponge pad sander, which is just kind of forms around it, and it's easier for them to sand. And of course, they have all these really good lights, so they can really see all the wood, all the sanding that needs to be done on that.
Yeah. So no more big shaping. The big shaping's done.
Big shaping's
Gets
done
here.
there. Yeah.
This is just another level of fine tuning, if you will.
Exactly. And
for the wood finish.
With the new machinery that you saw in the mill, with all the robots and all the Haas machines, it's actually does a quicker, better job. When they used to come probably 15 years ago, there'd be more sanding doing. So those machines actually do take a lot more time over there, but it's less time over here because it's more.
Cool.
Yeah. So the bodies that he was doing on the rough sanding over there, they'll all end up over here, and they're still in the raw stage. You still have the raw stage. So what he did is he took all those hard lines, and what Rollo's going to be doing is you can see he's going to be taking these hard lines and rolling them over.
Okay.
Before it gets its base coat layer on there. And this is where you really have to take your time and look at the line. We have these special LED lights, and you can see that's a hard line right there.
Yep.
So he's going to roll those over like that on the Stingray body.
And what's the time comparison for something like this on this body specifically versus the neck of doing the same thing?
They're about the same.
It is? Okay.
Well, if they're flat, they'll go faster, but if they have a lot of contours.
Yeah, sure. A Kaizen.
Like the Kaizen has a lot of contours and deep valleys and crevices. This takes a lot longer.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah. And this is really good. You could see all the angles that you have to get right there. I mean, look at all the angles on that.
There is no straight lines on this
There's no straight
thing.
line. I think there's only straight line is right there, and that's it. Or on the bridge location where the straight line is, because it already starts to do like that. And you can see Rollo's actually doing some hand staining right now of a saber body. That's a two-part stain. He applied the orange on there, sands off the orange, and then he applies the blue.
Yeah.
And then you get this really beautiful looking color right there. And then obviously when you put the clear over the blue, it kind of mushes the colors together, which is the base coat, and it kind of blends them together and gives it like.
So I noticed he's not doing the very outer edges. Is that because it's going to get binding?
Yeah, that's the.
Oh, that's the natural.
The natural binding.
Yeah, yeah.
We tape that off.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And is it possible to overstain that? Like, is the amount that he's getting?
You can, but we
seems very consistent.
Very well. We do our mix ratios.
Got it.
So each stain has a different mix ratio. So if you really want to go heavy, you leave it all black. But if you want to go orange and with a light blue, we mix the ratio 4-to-1, like 4 parts water, 1 part stain. That's where you get that light color.
Cool. Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
So after these bodies have been inspected,
Yep.
they're going to go to the base coat room, but we'll actually go see what the base coated bodies look like right here. So here you have the body that was inspected, and then it went to base coat. So it gets four layers, or 3 to 4 layers of base coat on there. Seals the wood in, and so now you have this sealed thing, and now it has to be resanded again.
Of course.
And then it'll become the canvas for the paint.
And that's removing things like orange peel.
Yeah, the orange peel and getting it laser flat.
Okay.
And you can see.
Lots of sanding.
Yes. And that's what Jimmy's doing right now. You can see right there.
Wow.
You see?
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's completely smooth.
Completely smooth.
And they look at it on the light, and they look for low and high spots, and they go back and sand.
This literally feels like a piece of marble.
Exactly, exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And like I said, they're ready for the next stage, which would be color. So after the bodies and necks have been base coated and sanded, they come in this room right here, which is, I call the bin room, the supply room.
This is an incredible room.
So these are all bodies and necks waiting to be painted with the customer's orders.
Okay.
So we have like the Stingrays, we have the Kaizens, depending on the body and neck. But this is where the work order is generated for law to pick the neck, and then they pick the cord and the body that goes with the neck.
Got it.
with a work order. So if it has a matching headstock, blue matching headstock matches the body blue. So of the different variations that we do of the Stingray's Music Man parts,
So these are base configuration
Yes.
bodies and necks.
yes, waiting for to be to the next stage, which is the painting phase,
Got it.
which is the next phase of the production.
This is pretty wild to see just all of these necks.
And we
just-
make, yeah, I mean, look at it, and you would look at this and say about 80% of this is all roasted maple.
Yes. Well, I mean, I would argue that no one does roasted maple like you guys,
Correct.
in my opinion. And I'm biased, obviously, but like your cuts of wood, the flamage that you guys
Oh
get
yeah, the flames, yeah.
is unbelievable.
Yeah, the vendors that we deal with know our standard, our quality, and our expectations from them.
This is amazing.
They get the decals ready on there to put the water decals on. These are all the cutlasses. And the next stage for this is to get the top coat to seal in the decal and the process of the neck.
So something like the cutlass neck versus the stingray neck, are these actually different?
Yes, the radiuses are different.
Radiuses are different.
Yeah.
I bet the neck pocket is slightly different.
Yeah, the back. You can definitely there's two different stuff. You could feel the difference between a stingray and a cutlass.
Sure. Oh yeah.
It's-
Oh yeah. Okay.
yeah, they look the same.
They do visually look the same.
Yeah, but-
Yeah. Okay.
And then you could see some of the process in here. They're already starting to do the first color stage.
Mm-hmm.
So booth 3 and 4 are colors. So he's going to actually do some custom colors for us right
Oh
now.
wow.
He has the paint already pre-mixed.
Okay.
And
Loads it in the gun.
It's catalyzed. Yeah, loads it in the gun. And then what he's doing right now is he just finished spraying that body, and of course, debris lands on there. There's no way to fight that at all. So he's sanding the light areas where the debris land, and he goes back and sprays it.
Okay.
Because you want no debris before you put the top coat on.
Right.
These are just more bodies as they pull them. We have Luke's, Albert Lee's.
Oh, so this is just an extension of what's over there.
Yeah, there's just more of these bodies they'll start pulling.
Wow.
So this is another extension to the paint room. So you have booth 1, booth 2. Booth 1 right now is doing the base coat session in the morning.
Okay.
So it's sealing all the raw wood that came in. They're doing the base coat, and then it'll dry overnight, and it goes back, it gets sanded, and then it goes back. Once it gets sanded, it goes back in these bins, and that's when they start pulling for colors.
Okay. And how many colors off the top of your head?
Oh my God.
How many colors can you do or have done? What's in the catalog officially?
I would say over 1,000.
Oh,
It has
okay.
to be, huh, Sin? 1,000 colors? Yeah. Variety, yeah.
Are there any colors you are unable to do anymore? Old ones or anything like that? Like you can't get the paint anymore?
Well, yeah, there's some colors we don't do because the factory no longer exists.
Sure.
So they had the formula, so we moved on.
Got it.
So
But otherwise,
yeah, we have another facility that supplies all us arcades.
okay. These are incredible.
Yeah. Those are the lacquers.
Yeah. Wow.
So let's go in the mix room. You can kind of see all the different. If you want to see colors, we'll look in the mix
Yeah,
room.
yeah. Let's see the mix room.
So you want to talk about colors? You could just see
Oh,
we
wow.
organized it about all the different colors, current colors that we're using right now. So if you open up these bins right here, these are all different colors right here. So here, we keep the copper flakes in here.
Mm-hmm.
These are just more. I mean, over you
Wow.
can see like there's probably over 100 different types of cans.
Yeah,
More colors that we keep over there. This is the lacquer section. Transparent, those are the peg colors.
Uh-huh.
Eventually your color will make it in here somewhere. Yeah, we'll have a little thing for you right there. And this is basically the mix area where they mix the two parts, the chemicals do the painting right here.
And is the sparkle hard on the guns?
We have sparkle guns that have
Specific.
bigger openings
Okay.
for them. Like, they call it a double aught 2 or something like that, where it actually allows the flake to spit it out more.
Okay.
Yeah. And we do like to keep those separated. We try to spray sparkles in booth 3 because you do not want to contaminate any
Sure.
in sparkles in here because you get a flake that lands in there, you have to reshoot it.
That's
over.
a nightmare.
Yeah.
All right.
So Bay's going to do a burst on a Luke right now. So he has 2-color burst on there. He puts the base blue on there.
Okay.
And then he's going to come around and whip it and start bursting it with the darker blue on the edge. This is pretty amazing. This is the fun part right here.
Oh, look at that. Ever so slight on
He's
the
going-
edge.
He's going right on the edge with black because
Yeah.
on that color it requires just about a 1/4 inch of black. And basically you're kind of like trying to hide some of the wood so it all looks like the top's just on fire.
Wow.
So essentially this is almost a 3-tone burst. You got your light blue and then your black, and then he's going to whip it around with a kind of like a blueberry mix of blue.
Now, is each part of the spray process, is he using different nozzles?
Yes.
For,
Yeah, he's
okay.
using those smaller guns, the
They're
high water
purpose.
guns, are what they call bursting guns. So right now he's going to lay clear, and clear does it actually helps blend the colors together, so you don't have these lines of the
Yeah.
blue meeting the light blue. Kind of melts them together. So now he's going to go with the. This is where you're going to see the burst right here. Yeah, you can get closer if you want.
Oh, that's so cool. Wow. The precision.
See how it's coming like a nice
Yes.
blend to it, huh? And then he's going to put a little bit more black to blend the blue with the black.
Okay.
And then he's going to thicken the blue part of the burst on the next stage.
Oh, that's amazing.
He's trying to blend the two blues together now. Now with the other blue, he's going to blend the dark blue with the light blue.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of see how it.
Makes it pop. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so how many colors? That's three colors of blue right there.
Wow.
And the clear blends the colors together.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Mm. You gonna get in there? Show us how it's done? What's up, man?
I don't want to get sprayed in the face.
Oh yeah,
Look at that.
that's amazing. You can see this robot. That's just painting guitars, coding guitars.
Yeah, putting the bass coat on the guitar.
That's amazing. And it's interesting to note that there is not like a specific batch
No.
of same model guitars.
And
It's literally
we program which guitar we put in one rack.
Yeah.
And it knows, we teach it the points of where how far to spray, how not.
Oh,
far
that's
to spray.
incredible.
Yeah. So when it does the Majesty, obviously it does the neck, so it's going to tighten up the spray pattern
yeah.
to get the back of the neck rather than doing all this extra overspray on there.
Wow.
See that? It spins it around.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So now we're gonna go in the hot box.
Ooh. It is extremely warm in here. It feels very nice.
Yeah.
To be totally honest with you. This color, I keep seeing this.
Sonic blue.
I just love it. Now,
We call it powder blue.
this is a super nerdy question. This system that you guys have,
The rack system.
I have never seen this anywhere. Not like this, where you guys
Stick
are.
them out like that, yeah.
That's
You get more bodies in there.
brilliant.
Yeah. So these bodies that you've seen right here were yesterday's session of top coat. So they actually come in here for a whole day and they dry and then off to the buffing department, because obviously when you apply clear coat on there, it's never flat.
Yes.
You get the orange peel, right?
Right.
So what they're going to do in the next buffing area is they're going to actually knock it down to get it like a flat top coat before they go into the buffing section.
Right.
You can see right here. You can see it's clear, but it has its little roughness on there.
Sure.
So they're going to actually start with certain grains of sandpaper to knock that thing mirror flat.
Yeah.
It's about 96 degrees in here, I think is what it is. So when we left off, we went out of the hot box where the bodies dry for a whole day or 2 days, depending on the finish. And after that, they actually come into this room right here, which is called the buffing department. And they actually have to get resanded again to get the finish completely flat
Yep.
and ready for the buffing department, ready for the buffing session. As you see, here you have a body right here that's normally shiny, but they went and sanded it all the way down to 1,000 grit.
Yeah.
And they go to 1,200 grit. Well, then when you start putting in the buffing wheel with the buffing compound on it, it starts bringing out back the shine.
Got it.
Just like a car, same process.
Gonna make it nice and pretty.
Yes. So if you go right here, these guys this is what they're doing. You see, it has the lacquer top coat on it right now, which is
Right.
a little bit shiny. And what he's doing right there is he's probably putting about 1,200 grit or 1,000 grit and just getting it flat. You can see the orange peel right here from the lacquer, right?
Yeah.
What he's going to do is going to knock down that orange peel. And lacquer is much thinner than poly, so you have to be real careful as far as how much pressure you put on there like that.
Yeah, and especially for something like that has a compound like the Kaizen.
Correct.
I'm sure that's a much more laborious process.
Yes.
Once again.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, this sandpaper right here, this orange sandpaper is 1,200 grit right there.
Okay.
So he started with 1,000, now he comes back with 1,200.
Got it.
The more times you sand it with the higher grit, the less scratches there are.
Okay.
And it's easier to buff to bring out the luster of the top coat.
All right.
And same thing with the necks, same process.
Okay.
Here you have a flat, and then you're starting to get buffed right there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's doing that with that body right there. So after the bodies have been sanded to the final grit of 1,200 grit or 1,500 grit, depending on the body,
Yep.
they'll come into this room, into the actual buffing room. As you can see right now, this is buffing. This is their first robot we ever had, and her name is Ursula.
I love that.
Pretty name, tried and true. And what it's doing is actually buffing one of the bodies that came from the other department. As you can see, it's all programmed. There's a RFID tag in there. It exactly knows where the points are and how much pressure to apply against each buffing
Wow.
wheel. So the first buffing process is the red compound, which is a more grittier. It attacks it, gets it more down to when you get into the other department, which is a much finer grit buffing compound, and brings out more shine. So this kind of knocks down, brings some of the shine, and then as you get to the other part, you can see
Can it make lunch?
it's horrible. Tastes like shit.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What a time saver too.
Yeah. You can load it up. I think there's 45 bodies you can load up on this carousel part, and it can work lights out, so it can work at nighttime.
Cool.
The only thing that it doesn't do is does not flip the bodies manually. I mean, you have to actually flip the bodies manually because it only does one side at a time.
Okay.
It's not 3D where it could sit around. So right now it's doing the face and the sides of
Yep.
that Luke body. And then once it's done, its process, it'll go back onto the machine. And then as it gets through, it'll take the employee will take the body, flip it around, and then it does the
Got
other
it.
side. So it's about 7 minutes per body.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long would you say? I mean, you guys are obviously still doing them by hand as well, in addition to using Urslab. How long does it take? How much time is it saving
Well,
per body on average, would you say?
well,
A couple minutes?
it could. That's a good question. It depends on the body. Some bodies take longer. Flat bodies like Axis go pretty fast, but it actually saves more of the muscle joints and aches rather than by doing it by
Repetitive
hand.
stress.
Yeah, repetitive. So it takes all the hard labor out of getting that luster shine. Obviously,
Right.
it can't do every part of the body or bring the shine completely.
Sure.
And then after that it's done by hand.
Wow.
And that's where you see all these buffing compounds right here.
Right, right.
Each station has different colored compounds for different types of grits. So you have your red of a wax,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you have your blue,
Yep.
depending on the body. We use blue for lacquer right now. Works really good. And what Ray's doing right now is he's actually buffing a lacquer neck. Low RPMs on the wheels.
Yep.
And again, just like the sanding department, it's a touch feel thing, right? They know how much pressure to apply against the wheel without burning the paint off or burning into the top layer. So yeah, it takes a lot of skill to do that. Same thing like sanding department.
I could not do that.
Yeah. You can, but it's going to take you
Oh
a while.
boy.
Never say never.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go get my coat on.
And you can see right here, Keith is actually hand buffing what the robot didn't finish. So he's actually,
Okay.
and he's taking out all the buffing lines that the robot leaves and bringing the shine back up, looking for dull spots that the robot didn't do. See how it's all the muscle memory right there. It's all muscle memory. It's all
Yeah.
by touch. How the body springs back off the buffing wheels.
Right.
The pressure needs to be applied.